Mayor Bass?
Thank you.
Mayor Bass, any comments?
Yes, my comment is they need to leave, and they need to leave right now. They need to leave because this is unacceptable.
Who did you speak with?
Just wait and see.
Mayor Bass,
They will be leaving soon.
And interestingly, when she posted her outrage on social media, she's just seeing more popular responses calling for her resignation, replying that she's crying that the kids aren't playing, but didn't seem to care that they were playing alongside criminals, with several people posting about how bad the area is on the daily, with Traffic News LA showing us MacArthur Park is no place for kids to play. As just a few months ago, even the Los Angeles Times had the mayor acknowledging how bad it is, reporting on the gang shootings, substance use, syringes, and homelessness, highlighting how the park vendors are a staple of the immigrant community, selling stolen property, substances, and even firearms. You'd think a city that just had to lay off several police employees would gladly accept federal assistance in cleaning up the areas that the kids play at, but no. She can only show up when it comes to protecting the status quo of lawlessness that she's created. It's just interesting how places like Reddit will parrot those talking points, where basically this lady wrote a poem about how the parks in LA are seemingly empty now as the ICE raids have made certain people afraid to come out.
And I wonder if anyone else who looks like me noticed. I wonder when they will and what they will do when they notice that there are no birthday parties in the park anymore.
Where the top replies echo the absence of barbecues and picnics at the parks. How this person provides party services. The fires hurt their business, but the raids are even worse. Even going as far to say, this is purposely destroying California's economy, conveniently ignoring the state's economy was already running a $12 billion deficit. So maybe these ICE raids aren't destroying your economy, as I somehow doubt the tax dollars from bouncy castles and food stands offset the $16 billion estimated for just Medicaid spending alone. No, those social media posts pointing at empty spots at the park are no different than when Mayor Karen shows up to scold the cops while facing the cameras. But the most interesting aspect about all of this is these ICE raids have only increased, and there are local residents that are protesting this.
But this is some breaking news out of Los Angeles as a federal immigration enforcement operation is currently underway. You see a large crowd right there. LA Mayor Karen Bass is at the center of this large crowd. Is Mayor Bass right there demanding that the raids stop. And you can see that it's getting a little physical right there as the crowd is kind of pushing towards this police vehicle.
But there's really not that many of them anymore.
It's the other. He's camera person. Okay, 10-1.
Where Julio Rosa shows us maybe 3 of them are actually angry.
We are American citizens. This does not feel safe. I'm an American citizen.
No,
This does not feel safe.
Silence. I see you. And you're press? What press are you from? Where are you from? Why are you on that side?
While weeks ago they had basically an army of activists, incredibly well coordinated and aligned with other riots all across the country. But as we discussed a couple days ago, once the IRS stated they were going to look into who's funding the riots, alongside USAID being completely dismantled, suddenly they struggle to bring together even 100 activists, which really makes you wonder how organic this anti-ICE movement really was, as they successfully burned and looted Los Angeles, but didn't actually accomplish anything.
We're going double down, triple down in sanctuary cities. Why? Not because we're a blue city or blue state, because we know that's where the problem is. We know they're releasing public safety threats and national security threats to the streets every day because they don't honor our detainers. We know that. We don't have that problem like in Florida, where every sheriff in the state is working with us. So where we're going to send our assets, we're going to send them where the problem is.
So what
sanctuary cities. So I've said it before. We'll flood the zone of sanctuary cities. If they don't let us arrest a bad guy in the county jail, they're going to arrest him in the community. We're going to arrest them at a work site. And if we don't just say 3,000 a day is too much, I want to remind you, do the math. We'd have to arrest 7,000 every single day for the remainder of this administration just to catch the ones Biden released in the nation.
Imagine being one of those unpaid activists in LA that idly stood by while your city was
No, they're gluing themselves to Ferraris. Because they're retarded. Some of them look... No, it's not a driver, it was at a fucking car show. And they're Ferraris. What do you mean, who cares? Ferrari's gonna sue them for all of their money. Fucking Ferrari. Who the fuck wants a goddamn shitty slave like that?
Was burned and looted in solidarity with Stop and Ice, only to see 100 federal agents stomp through your city on horseback, carrying the American flag like Mel Gibson in The Patriot. So I really wonder if they're just accepting defeat, as Alligator Alcatraz is officially open and accepting detainees.
I think our viewers at home should note that this is air-conditioned facility, so if any of the news claims are keeping them out in the hot, humid South Florida, that is wrong. It's probably 62 degrees here,
to be honest.
or 72.
Hey, Biden wanted me in here, okay? He wanted me. It didn't work out that way, but he wanted me in here, that son of a bitch.
And even CNN admits this is what Americans want.
So what you're seeing essentially here is a very clear indication that a majority of Americans, in fact, when they're asked this blunt question, which I believe gets at the underlying feelings, do in fact want to deport all immigrants who are here illegally. There's no arguing with these different numbers because they're all essentially the same across 4 different pollsters.
So either they finally learned that destroying your own city does absolutely nothing for accomplishing social justice, or like I believe, their funding finally dried up and the masses don't organically destroy their own city. So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, subscribe to Decoy Voice.
Lucy has been one of the 5 units getting changes to their additional core skill with Zenless Zone 0 Season 2, and with that I thought it is about time for an updated guide for our favorite tsundere, as there have been many changes since I did the last one. So let's talk about her kit and how she plays, her best weapons, disk drives and disk drive sets, her combos, her main and substats, her teams and mindscapes, and lastly, let's also talk about her pros and cons. Welcome! I am Rivenus, and this is your complete updated guide to Luciana Oxetis Theodoro de Montefio. Or in short Lucy, cause hell nah, I ain't saying her full name every time. Lucy is a fire-type support who excels at providing team-wide buffs without taking much field time, while also being easily accessible for free-to-play players, and she is easy to build as well. She also doesn't come alone, but with 3 cute Borthyrans named Grassy, Woody and Bricky, who will continue to attack our foes with slingshots, baseball bats and their fists while Lucy is off field. Let's cover her kit to understand better how she works. Fortunately for us, we can boil down her kit into something simple. Using her special or EX special for the very first time, Lucy will summon the Guard Boars. The Guard Boars inherit Lucy's attack, impact and anomaly proficiency, and when another character of the same attribute or faction, or now also a Rupture character is in the team, the Guard Boars will also inherit Lucy's crit rate and crit damage. Casting her EX special after the launched Guard Boar has found its unfortunate demise, it will apply the Cheer On buff to all allies. This applies not only to your agents but also to the Bangbu and the Guard Boars themselves. Cheer On increases the attack by up to a maximum of 600 based on Lucy's attack plus 104, well, depending on the skill level that is. It lasts for 10 or 15 seconds depending on whether or not the cast EX special has been a line drive or fly ball respectively. Holding her EX special pressed will launch a fly ball with a short press launching the line drive. The fly ball has a longer animation but also inflicts just slightly more damage, daze and anomaly than the line drive does, but the difference is just so small that I would not bother using a fly ball, which also means just tap her EX special. Due to her core passive, the Cheer On buff also has a 200% effectiveness on the boars, and they will have their attack frequency increased as well while buffed with Cheer On. Let's skip her normal basic attacks, dodge, dodge counter, dash attack, chain attack, special, quick assist and assist follow-up, because you will either never use them or they do exactly what they are supposed to do. Actually, never mind, I wanna do a quick mention about her basic attacks, simply for the sake of completion. Because she has an alternative basic 3, her basic string might not be super understandable at first, because she actually has 2 basic attack strings, with her first one being basic 1 and 2 into basic 3, with the B3 actually being the one where she jumps up and obliterates her boar mid-air. Her basic 4 comes afterwards and is the enhanced fire attack where she swings twice, and that being the one with 1 and 2 into basic 3, with the B3 actually being the one where she jumps up and obliterates her boar mid-air. Her basic 4 comes afterwards and is the enhanced fire attack where she swings twice, and that one can be followed up by her alternative version of her basic 3. This makes her full basic string basic 1 and 2 into basic 3 into basic 4 into alternative basic 3 into basic 4 into alternative basic 3 and so on and so forth. This basically results in 3 permanently spinning bores, and you can continue with an infinite loop of B4 into alternative basic 3 afterwards. However, please note that any dodges, dash attacks or similar will interrupt and reset her combo, having you restart from her basic 1. Speaking of the spinning bores already, let's cover them, because they are part of her basic attack as well. They will deal physical damage, but they do not inherit Lucy's physical damage bonus, and hence if you thought about using physical damage bonus in slot 5 for her, I am sorry to disappoint you. The bores will randomly swap between using one of 3 weapons of various strength every few seconds, and regardless of which one they use, they do look absolutely adorable. When Lucy inflicts damage with the 4th hit of her basic attack string, as I already have mentioned earlier, all bores will use their special ability Spinning Swing, which basically just turns them into Garen for 2 seconds. Unfortunately for us, while the bores Spinning Swings have great damage multipliers, on-fielding Lucy is kinda just not that good, and that means we will rarely if ever see the spin to win, is what I would say if we are talking about M0 Lucy. Her Mindscape 6 however triggers the spinning swing as well, and hence we will actually see it for quite a bit. Her bores can also not be buffed by the likes of Rena, which is just something I wanted to mention here. To finish off her kit, her ultimate does damage and restores 10 energy to all squad members. It will also trigger a quick assist, and the character swapping in using said quick assist gains an additional 20 energy. It is to be noted, it does not restore adrenaline, only energy. As for her skill in also here. To finish off her kit, her ultimate does damage and restores 10 energy to all squad members. It will also trigger a quick assist, and the character swapping in using said quick assist gains an additional 20 energy. It is to be noted, it does not restore adrenaline, only energy. As for her skill priority, we want to prioritize her core and EX special, then her basics and chain, into assist, and lastly into dodge. Because her damage is not as relevant in the grand scheme of things, maxing her core and EX special is the highest priority, as her core gives her base attack and her EX special scales the cheer on buff. Before we talk about her weapons, disk drive sets, main and substats, let's clarify how much attack you need to get the full actual 600 attack buff from her EX. At skill level 12, we are looking at a total scaling of 22.6% plus 88, which means we need to hit at least 2265 attack, and if you have her at Mindscape 6, which to be fair you will have at some point, and hence also skill level 16, we only require a total of 1922 attack. Both of these values are really easily achievable, which allows us to focus more on crit values as our bores will want to inherit them. Having that said, let's talk about her combos and how we actually play Lucy. Fortunately for us, she is really easy to play. Her entire combo essentially boils down to switch her in, use her EX special, then switch her out. For optimal effectiveness, we want to do all of this before the enemy stun window, since her buff lasts long enough, especially after Mindscape 6. We can do so with either a defensive assist, which results in a simple combo of parry into assist follow-up into EX special, or a simple quick assist into EX special. If we are running out of buff uptime, a simple switch in into EX special works as well. We want to make sure to only tap her EX, and if her ultimate is up, we can immediately cast that one as well, which allows us to bridge a little bit of time until the bores hit. I do want to reiterate that holding her EX special for a fly ball is not necessarily a good idea. The bore from the fly ball needs a surprisingly long time until it hits the enemy, and only after doing so it will actually trigger the quick assist, which wastes a lot of time and is especially bad when using a 4-piece Astral Voice. And with that, let's talk about her weapons. Unfortunately, the bores are separate entities and hence do not trigger Weeping Cradle's effect, and they also do not inherit the pen ratio either. This makes Weeping Cradle kind of a bad choice for her. On the other hand, her signature weapon Kaboom is probably the best support Vengeance in the game, not only on her but also many other supports, only potentially rivaled by Unfettered Game Ball. Providing up to 16% combat attack and energy regeneration, this weapon is her best choice, as she is able to provide the full 16% to the team at all times. If you do not have Kaboom but for some reason own an Elegant Vanity, that is a fine option as well. Her Boars cannot trigger Unfettered Game Ball's effect either, but if you're playing her against a fire weak enemy, that is a good choice as well. Just make sure to deal fire damage at least once every 12 seconds. You can do so either by weaving in a quick special once in a while or using assist follow-ups as well as her obvious EX special or ultimate. Against physical enemies, I guess you could play her and just weave in a basic attack once in a while. Regardless, please keep in mind these calculations are for
Zhu Fufu, or Fufu as she's often called, looks like a remarkably simple character. In short, she's an Aftershock agent who very much looks like she'll be mostly played as something you set and forget. Her additional ability is very useful, increasing the decibel cap by 1000 and refunding 300 decibels whenever an ultimate is used. But that's just numbers. Her core mechanic functions around Hu Wei, the popcorn pop, and the might meter, which is shown under her portrait. It's got a cap of 200, and once it hits 100, if Fufu is not the active character, then after Hu Wei hits an enemy, she'll perform an Aftershock chain attack, suppressing Tiger Cauldron. It has 700% in motion value and deals 2/3 of the days of her EX. It's after doing this that she goes into her Tiger's Roar state, which can increase everyone's crit damage by up to 50%, scaling with Fufu's attack, as well as giving a 20% damage boost to chain attacks and 40% damage boost to ultimates. It lasts for 30 seconds, and while Fufu is in this state, she'll get an extra 50 impact. Her EX and ultimate give her some might, 80 and 100 respectively, but most of her buildup comes from Hu Wei, who generate 20 might whenever he attacks an enemy. So the 30-second cap is not something you really need to manage, as Hu Wei single-handedly generates enough might to be able to sustain this. There is an internal cooldown, but even with it, you're going to be generating enough might to refresh Tiger's Roar. And there's other ways of generating might. Whenever Fufu uses an ultimate, she gains 6 points of momentum. She also gets 3 when using an EX special, and 1 with every assist follow-up, although it has a 10-second cooldown. Momentum can be seen as a small buff icon under her portrait, and if she has this, her might gauge will gain a fire effect. This will enhance her alternate dash attack, which you can get by holding basic after she performs a dash attack. In this mode, she'll keep spinning on top of Hu Wei as she Beyblades into enemies. Or perhaps pinballing is a better term. Normally this doesn't do much, but if you have momentum, each hit will build 25 might and use up one of the momentum stacks. But you don't even need to be on Fufu to benefit from the momentum bonus, as she'll perform this attack automatically when not the active character. She'll only start doing it after an Aftershock chain, and not before, so it's not perfect, but still very much a set and forget. So she's mostly just an AFK character. You swap her in for defensive assists and assist follow-ups, use her reacts when you have the energy, and then use her ultimate for some extra days and momentum, being mindful not to overcap might. The rest of her kit just isn't particularly good. I guess a regular chain attack has pretty decent motion value, almost 1340%, and since Fufu's built with high attack and you need at least 50% crit rate for King of the Summit, that means she'll be hitting decently hard. That's about it though. Her regular special is unredeeming, although it's not terribly slow, so it's alright as a way to trigger chain attacks. Dodge counter is a dodge counter, quick assist is a quick assist, and her basic attack, despite it looking really cool, is actually pretty bad and does very little damage in days. It also has no real interrupt resistance, so you get smacked out of it easily. Although it isn't all that good, I do mean it when I say it's cool. This is because with the proper timing, you can make use of it to get the chain trigger tech, also known as the ultimate animation cancel. Fufu will do claw swipes endlessly with her basic, but if you pause and then press basic again, you go to the 4th hit finisher. It seems to be a pretty terrible attack at first. Due to the pause, it takes a ridiculously long time for it to trigger a chain attack. But then you realize that the claw attack isn't a melee hit, but actually a ranged projectile. A ranged projectile with a delayed hitbox that happens to also be a heavy attack. That seems to ring some bells, doesn't it? And indeed, if you time it correctly, you can get the chain trigger tech, allowing you to swap out a Fufu and lose no stun time. You can get the chain trigger tech, allowing you to swap out a Fufu and lose no stun time. Unfortunately, this tech is pretty useless for her. Since you need to use basic attacks to get to it, it's not like there's much point on swapping to her mid-stun to do it, as it takes longer than just doing the ultimate. So really, it only ever be used as a setup before the stun. But because it only happens if the basic attack triggers the stun, that means you would be wasting all of the days from her ultimate if you're at a point where you can get it. Which means it's pretty bad. Sure looks great though. But there is another tech which can be useful, and that's being able to get instant chain triggers. If you watch my triple chain guide, you may recall a certain prediction from me. But currently there are no aftershock heavy attacks from inactive characters. Definitely something to look out for in 2.0 units though. We're at just a second character of 2.0, and heavy attacks on aftershocks is already a thing. Although Fufu's description says that she cannot be the currently active character to get her aftershock chain attack, this isn't really true. If you use her spinning dash attack while you have momentum in stock, Fufu will perform the aftershock chain attack even as the active character. And this chain attack is a heavy attack, which itself will trigger chains. Since it's still an aftershock, this means that, unlike other characters that do not allow you to swap to them until they are fully gone from the field, you can freely swap to Fufu while she's performing attacks on field, like her dash attack. And of course, this also while she's allow you to swap to them until they are fully gone from the field, you can freely swap to Fufu while she's performing attacks on field, like her dash attack. And of course, this also includes her aftershock chain attack. With the proper timing, Fufu becomes the character with the fastest chain trigger in the whole game, making her really useful for characters that rely on this. Like Hugo, whose totalized scales with every centisecond left on the enemy, allowing you to maximize his damage. Or even Evelyn, with Hui triggering an earlier stun, meaning more of her chain benefits from the damage up, and allowing for a quick swap out. This can be a bit annoying to set up, as you need Fufu to do the attack herself, but with a well-timed ultimate or EX before your chains, you can more or less control when it happens. Yet the most useful tech of all is one I can't claim to have found, as I first saw it shared by DunDun on Billy, whose video I link in the description. Remember how I mentioned that Hui has an internal cooldown on his attack? Even if you're getting 200 might every 30 seconds, the damage and days from having more aftershock chain attacks would really come in handy. Sadly, other than his automatic attack or momentum stacks, the only way of building might is through Fufu's EX special and ultimate. With a 10-second cooldown on getting momentum from assist follow-ups, this means there's effectively a hard cap on the amount of might that can be generated. Here's a neat trick though. If you let go of the attack button while spinning, Fufu will launch Hu Wei as an attack. If you read the description, it just says that she will throw Hu Wei to attack enemies. There's nothing about might build stated there. But if you try it in game, you realize that it does build might. More than that, Hu Wei will always perform his basic attack after coming out of the spin, which means you're getting not just might from the throw, but also from Hu Wei's own attack. This basic attack follow-up completely ignores the internal cooldown, which means you can loop it over and over for a pretty absurd amount of might build. So Fufu stops being an AFK character and actually becomes one that rewards staying on her, all the while greatly increasing her damage and days build for the team. Never mind 30 seconds to max out might via Hu Wei. With this, you can build 200 might in under 7 seconds. But if you've built momentum, then this gets even better. Remember that Fufu will go into her aftershock chain if she hits enemies with the spin while momentum is in stock. This won't happen if Fufu doesn't have 100 might though. You can get around this by clashing with the enemy, then releasing Hu Wei before hitting the threshold. But you don't even need to do that. The 25 might doesn't need Fufu to be riding Hu Wei, he just needs to hit the enemy. So it's perfectly possible to get full benefits at over 100 might, and with it getting even faster might buildup. Instead of releasing Hu Wei after bashing the enemy, send him off just before. With this tech, you can get 200 might in just about 4 seconds. It can be even faster if you time your cancels correctly, making momentum stacks even more valuable. And timing is important, because you can be too fast and interrupt Hu Wei's basic attack, so you want to wait a bit between dash attack loops to get the most out of it. That about covers our 3 Fufu techs. Maybe things like the chain trigger tech aren't particularly useful for her, but they're sure as hell fun to do. And who knows, squeezing in some extra damage of Fufu's ultimate might be what you need to get a kill. Although she may not be the best option for Hugo or Evelyn, her ability to quickly trigger chains when properly set up is really useful to squeeze out some extra damage. And with how fast might gets built by dash attack looping, it turns out that Fufu has a deceptively high skill ceiling, where learning when to be on her and when to be on your main carry will be critical to get the best scores. This is just a quick introduction though, as there's lots more tidbits to cover. There's good stuff, like how even without momentum, she'll go into her aftershock chain after a regular chain attack if there's enough might in stock. And problems too, like how you can interrupt Fufu's aftershock chain with a defensive assist, losing out on might and getting nothing in return. So if you're interested in more content that'll cover her and how she performs, then do like, share, subscribe and ring the bell. I've got more videos coming. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. The first ever S-rank support has dropped in Zenless Zone 0, and a lot of creators have kind of joked around that all she amounts to is a special key. They're not wrong, but that doesn't mean that there aren't any complexities to her kit that amount to a lot more gameplay than meets the eye. Let's start with peculiarities around her disk drives, and then move on to her techs and mechanics, since a lot of them interact with the Astral Voice set, which is important to cover. After all, you may be thinking that Astral Voice is Astra's set. Unfortunately, it's most likely not the disk drive she'll be using in stun teams. This is because Shockstar Disco is just not a particularly good 4-piece set. Most stunners get the bulk of their days from EX specials and defensive assists, neither of which are buffed by Shockstar. Shinki is the one character that gets most of it from basics, but she usually stuns so fast that you often need to actively avoid using basics to line up anomalies. But why am I talking about stunners instead of Astra? You see, Astral Voice's benefit is that the character that equips it does not need to be the one to trigger a quick assist. Any quick assist from any character in the team will build stacks for it, making it a great universal set. You can see here that I have no engines on any characters and no 4-piece set effects outside of Astral Voice, which is on Anby. Miyabi has all of Astra's buffs applied to her. When she attacks, she does around 4019 damage per hit. I'll swap back to Astra and Quick Assist and you see my damage go up. Now I'm doing 4198 damage with one stack. Now I do it a second time for the second stack, and I'm doing 4378 damage per hit. And a third time for the third and final stack, and it goes up to 4557 damage per hit. The Astra voice buff has been applied even though I never quick assisted to or from Anby, the one that has the set equipped. With this in mind, doesn't it just make more sense to run Swing Jazz on Astra instead? Given how slow most Stunner's chain attacks are, you're usually going to be skipping them, even in non-manual chain combos. Chain attacks are, you're usually Jazz on Astra instead? Given how slow most Stunner's chain attacks are, you're usually going to be skipping them, even in non-manual chain combos. Since you don't want to overcap days, ultimates tend to be used early on before the stun period begins. So, running Swing Jazz on them instead of Shockstar is pointless. Astra's chain and ultimates though cast fast and hit hard. It's also the only way to swap to her without having to swap to another character first, so you'll be using it often. So instead, have your stunner use Astra Voice and Astra use Swing Jazz. Now you get both buffs with very little downside. In some circumstances though, like when you're grossly overshooting the damage needed to kill in one stun rotation, a faster stun time may be better than having both Astra Voice and Swing Jazz. It all depends on whether you're shaving enough time to stun to make it worthwhile needing to do a few extra hits in the combo. So there will be many cases in which you run Shockstar on a stunner, or you're playing Astra in anomaly teams. In these situations, you only get to pick one support set, and Astra Voice will be the superior choice over Swing Jazz. For those comps, you want to be running Astra Voice on Astra. Still, if you plan on running Astra Voice in your Astra team, be it on Astra herself or your stunner, there are a few things you need to know about. You may have noticed that Astra's Quick Assist prompt has some special effects that regular Quick Assists don't. The Precise Assist glow. This isn't just to highlight how fabulous she is, it's a practical indicator. That's because her Quick Assist functions differently from normal ones. Namely, when it comes to defensive assists. If an enemy is attacking you and you have a Quick Assist prompt up, the game always prioritizes the Quick Assist before a defensive assist. So, no parrying allowed. With Astra though, you will not Quick Assist but defensive assist instead, still triggering her tremolos, buffs and all. Unfortunately, Astra Voice doesn't care about that. The disk drive set only works for Quick Assists specifically. Parries don't apply the buff. Let's go with the same setup as before. 4019 damage. I swap to Ambi and defensive assist with Astra's Quick Assist prompt on, and it's still the same. This is a big problem, because Astra's ultimate makes your next 2 Quick Assists become chain attacks. And chain attacks are not Quick Assists, so you don't get the buff applied there either. Once again, 4019 damage, we'll swap to Ambi for the first stack, then to Astra, the ultimate and chain. Except the stack with build with Ambi and the stack would have expected to build with the Quick Assist chain attack isn't there. Still doing the exact same damage. It's because of this that we have to get creative. Say you're in the stun period. Astra has just gotten her ultimate and you want to swap to her so you can do big damage and get an extra chain attack on your damage dealer. Unfortunately for you, you're using the Astra Voice disk drive set. You want to refresh the Astra Voice buff for your damage dealer, but swapping to your stunner and then attacking to wait for the prompt takes far too long. This is where the difference between normal and heavy attacks for Astra's special becomes a big deal. Astra has a 3-second cooldown on her Quick Assist prompts for basic attacks, but only 1 second for heavies. Although Quick Assists themselves are heavy attacks, they are exempt and won't trigger any prompts. Unless you use a heavy attack right after your Quick Assist. For Qingyi, this can be just a hold basic. Lycone is the same. Ambi and Kaleda would be just as special, although Kaleda's is a little slow. Lighter? You can just follow up with his basic finisher after a Quick Assist. That means you can swap to your stunner, slap the enemy with a heavy, and you're back on your damage dealer. And remember that Quick Assists themselves don't trigger prompts? Well, that works in your favor, because this is what lets you swap to Astra, ultimate, and then chain back to your damage dealer with a fully refreshed Astra Voice buff. But what if you're in a situation where you've run out of energy on Astra? After all, you need at least 50 energy to juggle the buff, 25 for each Quick Assist. You likely have used it before the stun as well, so the energy costs can get pretty steep. That's why you need to remember that swapping to Astra while she's in the idyllic cadenza state will automatically trigger an EX special cast, which itself triggers a quick assist. So even if you have no energy, you can still swap to your stunner, then immediately swap to Astra and let her EX special hit. Quick assist your damage dealer, then swap back to her, and ultimate. It is a bit longer than just juggling to a stunner and then back, but it's still plenty fast. Really though, for most combos, you won't ever need to care. And that's because Astral Voice's buff lingers. Sets like Swing Jazz and Proto Punk specify that passive effects of the same name do not stack. Astral Voice though says only one instance of this effect can exist in the same squad. The way I thought it worked was like Caesar's buff. Swap halfway and the incoming character will steal the buff from the previous character. You know, only one instance of this effect can exist in the same squad. Except this isn't what it actually means. The way it works is, when you quick assist, the Astral Voice buff is applied to the current character. If you quick assist again, the buff is applied to the new character, but not taken or removed from the old one. With this in mind, let's return to our testing setup. 4019 damage, quick assist to Ambi, quick assist back, 4378 damage. We'll do one last set of swaps to max it out, and we're back at 4557. If we quick assist to Ambi but hard swap back to Miyabi, we still do 4557. However, keep in mind that the buff timer only refreshes on the incoming character. So if I quick assist into Miyabi, I have 15 seconds of the buff. If I wait 7 seconds and quick assist into Ambi, I have 15 seconds of the buff on Ambi, the one who just swapped in, but only 8 seconds left on Miyabi if I swap back to her without a quick assist. Sure enough, 15 seconds off from our Miyabi quick assist, and we're back to 4019 damage. This means that so long as you quick assist at the beginning of your combo, the 15-second duration of the buff should last for the entirety of the stun period, even if you swap to another character halfway. But what about the Caesar scenario? You might be thinking, hey, this shows that you don't need to quick assist to pass the buff around, but it still can only be active on only one character at a time, right? If it works like Caesar buff, of course she'd still do more damage because she's the active character. But nope, it doesn't work like Caesar, and the buff just lingers, no matter what the active character is. With no stacks, my Nicole ultimate takes for 1388 and 2335 damage, depending on crit. If we build some stacks, that increases it to 1503 and 2607 damage. Swapping to Ambi, even when using the quick assist prompt, doesn't change the damage. It's still 1503 and 2607. So really, this text just means the same as Swing Jazz or Proto Punk. Except it isn't written the same way because technically you are stacking the buff 3 times. You can't stack multiple Astral Voice sets, no 6 or 9 stacks by having all 3 characters use it, but that doesn't stop you from having it active on your whole team at once. So I mean it when I say that if you've opened your stun with a quick assist, then you're safe to just swap to your stunner, then Astra, and use her ultimate without having to bother to refresh the buff at all. Unless you use Lighter, since now you're looking at 18 or 20 second stuns. But given how easy it is to buff juggle with them, that won't be a problem. Enough about Astral Voice though. What's with the quadruple chain? Well, other creators have covered that. Technically, you could chain twice in the same character by waiting out the quick assist prompt and swapping back to Astra. It isn't very practical to just wait, and there's no need to. That's because the fall off isn't random. It doesn't just expire whenever. If you keep doing your combos as normal, then it won't ever happen. This is because when you trigger a quick assist of Astra, the cooldown is applied twice. One is quite obvious, and it's when the quick assist itself is used. Even if I wait until the very end of the quick assist trigger, and then swap to Chingy and begin basic attacking, it takes 3 seconds for it to trigger again, no matter how late in the swap I was. But what may not be immediately apparent is that it also applies on the prompt itself. As soon as a quick assist pop-up appears, you've now initiated the cooldown. For basic attacks, that's 3 seconds. If I keep basic attacking, you can see that it falls off every 3 seconds. No exception. This means that even if I wait until the very end of the prompt to try and basic attack to refresh it, it's not going to happen. It's on cooldown after all.
A giant robot is attacking?
Do something, Batman! Shut up, Flash.
You're all useless!
I'll save you, Hawk Girl. Throw your battering at its core. Couldn't you just use your laser vision? I'm trying to include you. Thanks. We defeated the generic robot.
Also, it's about to fall on Hawk Girl and the others.
Is Flash there?
Yes.
Let it fall.
I hate you guys! They seem to have disappeared.
Does this mean Justice League's canceled?
Where are we?
Allow me to find out. What's wrong with him?
He's exhausted from using his powers.
I'm pretty sure he did nothing in that last fight.
Nothing's enough for him.
I can still hear you.
Let's just survey the area.
This place sucks.
Stop, criminals! It is I, Tom Turbine!
Who?
Who? Oh, gee, I don't know. Maybe the guy who climbed up onto a rooftop just to announce himself?
I can barely hear you!
Then perhaps you should feel me!
Please rephrase that.
Why are you attacking us?
I don't know if you belong in the skies or a kitchen.
That's sexist and or racist.
Welcome to the 1960s.
The 60s? What if I accidentally sleep with my mom? Kinda weird that's the first thing you thought of. Dad? I sure as hell hope not. Don't make me use my superpowers.
Is that a threat?
No, I really just don't want to use them.
He's mocking us.
I'm the Catman.
Can I go home now?
Gee, mister, thanks for saving me.
Why didn't you dodge? A man that cares about children can't possibly be evil. Make yourselves at home. Dibs on the chair. I am the Streak, the leader of the guild. Because super speed is the best superpower. Preach into the choir, bud.
I'm Catman. My parents were murdered in front of me by a pack of cats, and now I dress up as one.
Childhood trauma, am I right?
Black Siren. I don't have superpowers or weapons, but I can do a backflip.
You don't belong here.
He's even more sexist than we are. You'll fit right in.
Siren, how about you get us some cookies and milk?
Want to help, Hawk Girl?
I'm not going to.
The kitchen's wonderful.
Mr. Turbine, why don't you have eyes?
Because I smile a lot, and also anime.
Hey, Cookie.
Flash, if you ever call me that again, you'll be the fastest man alive with a limp.
I was talking to the food.
And that's how Flash's super speed transported you all to the past.
So it's his fault?
This is a witch hunt. Is there any way back?
Of course. Allow me to...
Dude, how tall are you?
Excuse me?
Sorry, but you're noticeably shorter than everyone else. It's kind of distracting.
You all can make your own damn way back to the future.
This is awful.
Am I cat food bill?
Dr. Blizzard is attacking the city. Dibs on Siren.
I'm leaving before I accidentally kill someone.
Ladies first.
At least I can't accidentally kill someone here. Isn't that right, Green Guardsman? Tom Turbine? They're all dead! But then who are those sexist and or racist people we've been talking to this whole time?
You actually defeated Dr. Blizzard?
Knocked him out cold.
You're not the Justice Guild of America.
What a ridiculous accusation.
I'm a cat.
Look, you were all killed in battle.
That's just fake news.
The media have been going after us for years.
This place is all delusion.
Who would cast such a spell?
I can answer that.
I need an adult?
I am an adult.
No! Make it stop! Get out of my head!
What's that?
You ruined it, you stupid Martian!
You want the juice?
This is my world. You're all my lovable, sexist, and or racist puppets.
This doesn't make any sense.
Cuba!
Cuba D's nuts?
In this timeline, the Cuban Missile Crisis resulted in nuclear warfare. The Justice Guild were killed, but the radiation gave a comic book-loving boy superpowers.
Who is this boy? Who?
Me!
Oh, surprise brain surgery.
You can just put your hand into someone's head and rip out their brain.
Pretty much.
You're one scary Martian, man.
That's sexist and or racist.
Shut up, Flash.
Click on this video to see a planet get nuked.
I like soda.
You're going to get diabetes.
Want to see me?
how fast I am?
You're just a cheap knockoff. Oh no. Let me upgrade.
You shall die.
She kinda bad though.
Okay. Let's dance!
Free!
You will not forget. You will not forget this devil's power.
Hey, boys.
Yes! 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 No! No! No!
I need more power.
That, bro.
Let's have some fun. Check your balls.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Where's your motivation?
I got you, homie.
Be a hero, just like the—
Does my little Miyabi...
私も当主様たちのような英雄になる。
英雄となって何をなすのです？
悪者を成敗する。
英雄とは守るために生まれるのです。滅するのではなく。ですが雅が双剣であれば母は十分です。英雄の旅路には喪失が伴うのですから。雅が母ほど大きくなった暁にはこの着物をあげます。いつか母とエリート中をよく聞いて。こうするほかないのです。 みやび、目を閉じてよく聞いて。
つけちゃった。
本当にありがとうございます。
お姉さん、私もお姉さんみたいなヒーローになる。朝日の色はもう目がくらむから明け方には道の見えない。猫ちゃんと喧嘩の修行？
猛獣との意思疎通も立派な修行だ。にゃあ。
ことだ。
状況
10分。
それが作戦。エネルギー。
大型
暗誘じゃ。我々にが隣傭兵を
This video is sponsored by Fishing Clash. More about them at the end of the sketch. Hi there, hello. So listen, good news. I thought of a new sport for us to do. Oh yeah, you did? You thought of a new thing? What is it about? We sit around together holding our rods, just hoping to get lucky. Oh. Yeah, okay, I'm in. Okay, great. So here's yours. Oh, wait, what's this? What is this for? It's for the sport activity. We're gonna put a little string on it and whatnot. Ah, okay, yeah, so I don't know what you're talking about. Well, here's the thing I realized. Fish are little idiots, right? They're super dumb. They just go around like bloop, bloop and whatnot. They're pathetic. Can't disagree with that. They're always going around like... They have no idea what's going on, I'm pretty sure. Exactly, so I'm pretty sure we could outsmart those little dum-dums. I mean, yeah, probably. I feel like we could do that if we wanted to. So, you know, let's do that. It'll feel good. And so that's the activity, just proving we're smarter than fish? Yeah, in a way. Like a spelling bee or a math competition. No, see, we trick them into thinking they're about to have a delicious meal, and then we stab them through the cheek. Oh, my God. Drag them up to the surface and then look at them. Jeez, why would we do that? Well, then we'd get to eat them if we wanted to, you know, like we've been doing with the dead ones that wash up on shore. Well, I don't like eating fish because of how it tastes. Well, that's okay. You wouldn't be forced to eat the fish. I thought of a version called catch and release as well. And what's that about? See, what you do is you catch and release. That makes sense. Okay, I can see why you called it that. Yeah, so you just stab a fish through the cheek and then you look at it and then you throw it back with a face injury. Exactly, yeah, with a little stab wound and some trauma. Okay, so I guess I don't see what the point is. Well, you could take a photo with it like this. Oh, that does sound like a sick profile picture. The ideal photo for dating websites as well. Yeah, although it'll be hard to beat my current one, which is just a photo of my truck taken with the flash turned on. Or, you know, if you don't take a photo, then you could just lie about the size, you know, say it was much bigger than it actually was. Oh, I do that all the time with, you know, other things. Yeah, same here with other stuff. Here's an issue I do have, though. I find fish disgusting and slimy and stinky, and I don't like being around them. Well, if it helps at all, most of the time you'll be doing this activity, you won't be around fish at all. What do you mean? I mean, sometimes it's gonna take an insane amount of time before you stab one through the cheek, and sometimes you won't stab one through the cheek at all. Oh. Yeah, it's just, you know, you sit around for a potentially very, very long time, and if you're lucky, you get a stinky prize. Oh, okay, well, that sounds kind of awful. It's relaxing. And also, I think I feel bad about the stabbing part. Oh, well, fish can't feel pain, probably. They can't? Yeah, you know, I don't know. Probably. I mean, I'm gonna tell myself that, though, for sure. Sounds good to me. All right, so listen, if we're gonna do this, we gotta find some bugs. Oh, what? That's the name of the game, baby. Tricking fish with bugs. What are you talking about? Well, fish love eating bugs, so if we're gonna trick them into thinking they're about to eat some, we gotta get some. So to catch the things you want to catch, you gotta catch some other things first. Is that also a sport? No, because see, bugs are a lot dumber than fish, so that part's not really gonna be a challenge. So at a certain level of creature intelligence, it becomes a sport. Yeah, I guess so. All right, we're just trying to figure out the rules. So we just gotta find some bugs, stab them with the sharp, curvy thing, then wait for the fish to stab themselves with the same thing. That sounds like a bloodbath. No, man, it's gonna be a nice time. You get to sit outdoors with a friend, enjoy the weather, just sit on the calm water. It's gonna be nice. I mean, can I think about it a little bit? Look, do you want to go drink beer with me on a lake or not? Oh, why don't you lead with that? Yeah, let's go right now. Hi there, hello, it's me, I'm the Adstronaut. I'm out here in ad space to talk to you about Fishing Clash. So listen, fishing is probably my favorite sport that's also a category of meal. Well, lucky for me, Fishing Clash is an awesome mobile game that lets you virtually snatch up fish from all around the world and fish in different locations. You play it on your phone, and you don't even have to throw your phone in the water for it to work. In fact, please don't do that. I learned that the hard way. Fishing Clash has freaking amazing graphics, and it's very fun to play with your family and friends. You can upgrade your rods and lures, upgrade your skills, take part in weekly competitions and events, create your own clan. You're gonna be fishing so much, I'm not even gonna really see you anymore. I'm gonna miss you. Fishing Clash has also put together the Adstronaut event. That's my name, and they let me help design it and everything. It's kinda crazy. If you download the game and use promo code Adstronaut, you'll get a welcome bonus. That includes a 3-star rod, a Florida Pro license, and 30 weight gain power-ups to help you catch bigger fish. And you'll be able to compete in my event and catch the Adstronaut fish, which is what I'd look like if I was a fish, I decided. You can win special Adstronaut vanities, a unique avatar with a frame, a dual card, and a badge. So hey, you can support me by downloading Fishing Clash from the link in the description and using the code Adstronaut. Okay, have fun fishing for me. Bye now.
クナイツ。ドクター、こっちにおいで。ちょっと見せてみて。やっぱり今年の共生城の作物はやはり人間より高いわね。